Ben Shapiro has come up with a few arguments about why Trump has not done anything legitimately impeachable. One is that Trump is essentially too incompetent to plot a quid pro quo.
I don't actually see objectively that Trump has ever had the level of intent necessary to do anything. I don't think that he's ever had the level of intent to eat a hamburger. I think that it's half accident when he eats a hamburger.
I'm curious as to how Ben squares that idea with this statement he made about Trump.
I don't think that if you look at how he has conducted foreign policy, there's actually not much there to suggest that he is doing it on a whim.
So which is it, Ben? Is Trump not acting on a whim, or is he permanently in some half-conscious daze, even when he does something as simple as eat a hamburger? Trump supporters often vacillate between defending his actions that seem nonsensical by asserting that he's playing some sophisticated 4D chess, and defending his actions that seem deliberately corrupt by saying he's too big a fool to be able to plot anything even remotely Machiavellian. So Trump is supposedly too incompetent to arrange a quid pro quo, and Ben says that if there's no quid pro quo, there's no reason to impeach. But Georgetown law professor Frank Bowman says that even asking a foreign country to do investigations of a political rival without offering anything in exchange is arguably impeachable. American presidents should not invite foreign governments to involve themselves in American elections. He also makes this interesting point. They should particularly not ask for criminal investigations of an American citizen by a foreign justice system not subject to American rules of due process and transparency. The opportunities for abuse are too great. If there really is a legitimate state interest in investigating the Bidens, why not open a domestic investigation? Why ask a foreign government to do it? Could it be because if a foreign government did it instead of Trump's own Justice Department, that would look more legitimate, and making these investigations look more legitimate is more important to Trump than actually conducting them in a legitimate way? And it seems odd to me that offering to pay for foreign election interference, if that's what Trump did, would be illegal, but asking to get it for free is perfectly legal. What sense does that make? Then Ben said that even if there is a quid pro quo, that's okay too, as long as it isn't purely for Trump's political benefit. If there's a legitimate state interest, there's nothing wrong with quid pro quos.
Not unless what you're talking about is the president really attempting to leverage American foreign aid on behalf of his electoral results, purely.
And let's say that there is a legitimate state interest in investigating whether Biden improperly involved himself in securing the dismissal of a Ukrainian prosecutor who was investigating his son's company. According to the whistleblower who complained about Trump's phone call to Ukraine, that's not all that Trump requested. He also asked Ukrainian President Zelensky to look into the idea that it was Ukraine that interfered in the 2016 election rather than Russia. The whistleblower report said that Trump asked Zelensky to assist in purportedly uncovering that allegations of Russian interference in the 2016 U.S. presidential election originated in Ukraine, with a special request that the Ukrainian leader locate and turn over servers used by the Democratic National Committee and examined by the U.S. cybersecurity firm CrowdStrike, which initially reported that Russian hackers had penetrated the DNC's networks in 2016. Ben says that it's okay to ask Ukraine to look into the Bidens if there is a legitimate reason to think that they did something wrong, even if it happens to be politically advantageous to Trump. And let's say that Biden acted improperly and that investigation is a legitimate state interest. What about this other request? How is it a legitimate state interest to ask for President Zelensky to legitimize a debunked conspiracy theory that makes Trump's 2016 election victory look less shady? I say debunked because Trump's former Russia advisor, Fiona Hill, says that the idea that Ukraine actually did the hacking is a fictional narrative that has been perpetrated and propagated by the Russian security services. George Kent, Deputy Secretary of State for European and Eurasian Affairs, also says that there is no factual basis for this notion that Russian election interference is actually Ukrainian. But I'm sure folks who seek to defend Trump have some conspiracy theories up their sleeves to excuse dismissing these disputations out of hand. And with respect to this issue as well as the issue of the Bidens, if there is a legitimate state interest in opening an investigation, why not do it domestically? Why ask a foreign government to do it on America's behalf? To everyone who helps me out on Patreon, you're a big help. Thanks so much.